UL listings versus sauna. This will be a very controversial topic. In this video, I will explain to you what are the problems UL listings cause to sauna heaters and sauna goers. These problems I expose in this video that UL listings are causing are nowhere to be found outside North America. I typically make videos for educational purposes, but today we are making an exception. While the things I say here are true based on my understanding, the information does not represent any views from any of our partners, brands that we sell, or even from ourselves. So sit back, relax, and get your popcorn ready. My name is Veeti. I'm a Finnish sauna expert and the owner of sauna marketplace called thesaunaheater.com. United Laboratories, also known as UL, is supposed to be America's safety guarantor, but what if I told you that they are posing a serious risk to sauna users all over United States? That's right, sauna bathing, a popular and silent form of therapy with millions of users across Europe and Asia, is fast becoming a deadly weapon in the hands of America's biggest safety organization. To make sense of this, let's backtrack to where it all began. When Finns and Swedes began to settle in what we now call the state of Delaware back in 1638, they brought their culture of thermotherapy in saunas with them. Thermotherapy is just a fancy word for the use of heat to treat different conditions. Sauna experts say that therapy works for detoxification, better metabolism, skin rejuvenation, and even anti-aging. The open secret that gets the work done is heat. Finnish saunas started as a pit dug in a slope in the ground. It had a fireplace where stones were heated till they become red hot. Sometimes water would be poured on these stones to produce steam that could travel faster around the room and increase the heat. Smoke saunas, called saunas, were created next. Large amounts of wood burned for up to 8 hours were used to heat up these rooms. After they let the smoke out, people went in to enjoy all the benefits of the heat wood burning had generated. Finns had evolved into using a metal wood stove heater in a room with a chimney. In 1950, the electric sauna stove was developed, and that's what sauna operators all over the United States use today. This is where Underwriters Laboratories comes in. Underwriters Laboratories is the largest and oldest independent testing laboratory in the United States. It is a global non-profit organization with headquarters in Northbrook, Illinois, dedicated to ensuring consumer safety by testing and certifying a wide range of products. These include medical devices, plumbing equipment, your kitchen appliances, and, well, sauna heaters. Part of UL's work involved in-depth inspection of products to identify any potential risks to users. They also perform on-site evaluation to ensure that these products perform optimally where they are intended. I will admit that UL plays a crucial role in modern society. One can only imagine how many accidents it has prevented through its work. However, in the bid to ensure safety among sauna goers, it has created even more problems that can harm the sauna goers. It's like the average road in the US, designed for 70 miles per hour but signed for 45 miles per hour. Road users who know this will find such a limit unfair, and that's why we have drivers going up to 60 miles per hour. The long-term effect is that people now belittle the very traffic laws that were designed to protect. It's why United States has the most dangerous roads among developed countries. You see, UL doesn't outrightly determine what is or isn't allowed in a sauna. Its primary concern are the heaters used in these facilities. However, the heating of a sauna is the point of the entire therapy. So, in the long run, whoever has the final say about the heater gets to determine what the sauna will be like. That's why UL's requirements can affect your experience at a US sauna, even though that's not the core of their work. It also indirectly influences how sauna owners and operators go about their business. We will have to consider what the ideal sauna is and what the UL requirements are. According to the International Sauna Association, sauna going is a healthy and relaxing hot air bath that alternates between temperatures for warming and cooling. The room where this happens is ideally one with wooden surfaces and temperatures between 80 Celsius and 105 Celsius. This is where the first issue arises, as the UL demands that the sauna room temperature as measured by the thermostat's temperature sensor must not exceed 90 degrees Celsius, which is 194 Fahrenheit. This temperature is obviously way lower than what you will find in an average sauna around the world. In fact, many sauna users prefer temperatures to go as high as 120 Celsius for optimal effect. In my personal opinion, I enjoy my saunas in way lower temperatures and have been doing so in my whole life. I don't like saunas that are 120 degrees Celsius, but some people do. What's the reason for UL's recommendation? Well, it believes that no combustible materials, especially wood, should be allowed to get over 100 degrees Celsius in sauna setting. Why? No one can say for sure. My guess is that 100 Celsius is considered special because that's just the temperature at which water boils. Wood pyrolysis, which some might consider, doesn't even occur at such a low temperature. In fact, UL allows safety guards, which are usually exposed to temperature way higher than 90 degrees Celsius, to be made from wood. What makes sauna any different? Beyond the fact that some people consider 90 degrees Celsius isn't a good temperature for a premium sauna experience, a temperature that low has health consequences for users. As people move around in the sauna and use the foot bench, they deposit all kinds of microorganisms like mold and bacteria on it. You know what kills these organisms? Hot temperatures. Take that away and you will be exposing sauna users to all kinds of infections. It doesn't help that UL also requires that a sauna heater with a remotely located temperature sensor must have its thermostat temperature sensor placed above it and no more than 6 inches below the ceiling. First of all, US sauna operators can't even decisively tell you where exactly above the heater means in this case. It's also worth considering that the area above the heater is typically hotter than every other part of your sauna. If the thermostat is there, it will record that high temperature in the area where the thermostat is placed, while everywhere else in your sauna it is significantly cooler. Think about it. The room temperature is usually measured at 1 meter above the sitting bench in saunas. This is where saunas outside the US mount their thermostat sensors. If the thermostat reaches 194 degrees Fahrenheit above the heater, then the temperature around the sitting bench would be around 150 to 170 degrees Fahrenheit, even with a ventilation that is done okay. That's not even the lower limit of heat recommended by the International Sauna Association. But hold on, because it gets even worse. High temperature limiter with a low trip point. This is how the limiter works. If the temperature exceeds a predetermined value in sauna, which according to UL should be 90 degrees Celsius, the limiter causes the heater to automatically go off until the temperature is reduced. Once again, not enough heat. Right. But that's not all. It has to be manually reset to start working again after this sensor trips. It just makes sense that such automatic trips are called nuisance trips. When this nuisance trip happens, it can take up to 4 hours for the heater to get back to work to reheat the sauna. To solve this, American sauna owners have turned to the use of an airflow system that cools the sensor rather than prioritizing adequate ventilation for sauna bathers. CO2 removal from the room is therefore impaired, and yet the temperature remains subpar. If the temperature outside is below 5 degrees Fahrenheit, the ventilation would need to be readjusted again, since the cooler air can affect the performance of the heater. It's just too much work and can even be risky for bathers like the elderly when they have to crawl around to do the manual reset for the limiter that is located at the bottom of these UL listed heaters. The danger here is that CO2 buildup isn't healthy and can worsen the very conditions that sauna bathers seek to treat with thermotherapy. You can even get burned trying to reset the limiter after such an unnecessary nuisance trip. There is also the 1 hour timer that limits how long the sauna heater can stay on for. I will admit that this isn't necessarily a bad idea. Nobody wants a sauna as hot as hell, but 1 hour intervals for the heater to automatically go off is just too short. Many users also won't remember to turn the heater back on, causing the temperatures to keep dropping. It wastes bathers' time and forces them to wait longer than planned or even leave their sauna. I would recommend adjusting the timer to go off every 2 to 4 hours. That way sauna bathers can enjoy high temperatures much longer and the UL still won't have to worry about safety. As horrible as all of these implications of UL imposed restrictions are, the biggest fear for us all should be sauna owners and heater manufacturers circumventing these restrictions to serve customers better. And that's already happening. In the bid to tweak temperature readings on the thermostat, people now position the thermostat lower on the wall and away from the heater. There it reads lower temperatures and the room can get hotter. Sauna bathers would appreciate the high temperatures, but there is an issue here. The thermostat values will deceive people into thinking that the room isn't as hot as they think, or even feel that the room isn't so hot as it is, and that's risky. Some sauna operators even put wet racks on the sensor to cool it while the room gets hotter. It's so bad there are signs that warn against such actions at public saunas in the United States. Others reposition the high temperature limiter away from the heater to prevent trips, endangering themselves and other sauna users. You know one more way that UL sauna heater restrictions can affect you as a user. By increasing the cost of using such a service. How? There are 2 problems with trying to conform to the current UL safety standards for saunas. UL certified heaters are expensive to produce and they are largely exclusive to the US. This results in less competition, so manufacturers will charge more. Who will bear the brunt of this? You, the user. So here's what I would suggest to solve these problems. The UL should allow higher sauna room temperatures of up to 120 degrees Celsius or 248 degrees Fahrenheit. It should also eliminate the use of the temperature sensor, or at least allow for its placement over the sitting bench rather than over the heater. Increasing the time limit to 4 hours will allow more steady temperatures in the sauna, while manufacturers incorporate remote temperature controls with notifications to remind whoever is in charge to reset the timer. Is this safe? Of course it is. Custodians of the practice of sauna bathing, like Swedes or Finns like me, have used electric saunas for years or hundreds of years without these stringent UL safety requirements, and there have been no issues. It's also worth mentioning that many sauna users already circumvent the current requirements and things have been working fine. Now UL just needs to tweak its rules as we work together towards ensuring safety in North American saunas. That was rough. As an ending, I will say that you will be completely fine with UL listed sauna heater as long as your other sauna construction is peak perfect. The problems with UL listings come from the fact that you have unequal temperatures in your sauna due to the lack of ventilation. You will have very high temperatures in the sauna ceiling and very low temperatures on the bottom of the sauna. This will lead to temperatures in the level of your foot bench in the sauna, because you have multiple levels of benches typically. The temperatures in the foot bench level, or if you have a barrel sauna in the floor level, will get so low that it won't kill the bacteria, and that's the problem. So if you build your ventilation properly, use a mechanical exhaust ventilation and take care of other sauna construction things, which most don't do, you will be completely fine with UL listed sauna heaters. If you want to learn what the actual physical health benefits of sauna going are, you can go and watch another unfiltered episode here where I teach you exactly what the Finnish study about sauna health benefits says. And this will be unfiltered and honest, not something done in marketing purposes as some other brands and influencers do.